What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Now today I've got for you some more mental entitled parent stories. But before we get into the first one, I just want to say a massive thank you to those of you that have already signed up to Redditor Uncensored. I only announced it in yesterday's video, but loads of you have already gone over there and unlocked the content, and I'm so grateful for it. Judging by your comments on the first episode, you guys seem to be absolutely loving it, and I'm loving making it as well. If you want to go and check it out, feel free guys, the link is down in the description and in the pinned comments. Entitled Parent tells me my accent is fake. So I don't know if this is really the right place to post this, because this parent was more insane and moronic than entitled. But anyway. So, back when I, a 27-year-old male, was about 20, me and my friends went on a summer-long working holiday in the US. Important for the story, we are all Irish. We all got jobs, etc., and spent the majority of our time drinking, partying, getting high, and trying to get with girls. There was this one girl who I worked with who was as American as apple pie, but claimed to be Irish because she has Irish heritage. Now, I know a lot of Irish people dislike it, but I just find it funny / endearing that people are proud enough of Ireland to claim it as their nationality, when they've never actually been there. Anyway, me and this girl got on very well, platonically, and we hung out a bit after work. She invited me back to her family home for dinner, and I, being poor and hungry, of course said yes. She drove me, and my god, when we got to the house, there were Irish things everywhere. A giant Irish flag and a US flag billowing in the air, giant plastic shamrocks all over the garden, and fighting leprechaun figurines / statues in the garden. I thought this was all hilarious, but I didn't say anything. Then we went in and I said hi to her mum, who was nice, and to her dad, who was not. The first thing he said to me was, "Cut out that accent, kid. It's offensive to us Irish folk." I was absolutely just speaking in my normal Irish voice. I was baffled, but assumed he thought I was American pretending to be Irish. I tried to clear it up by saying, "Sorry, I'm Irish. I'm not doing an accent." He said, "Cut the Buddhist. We are Irish and we don't talk like that." He was really angry at me, and I was really just trying to de-escalate the situation. "No, I mean I'm from Ireland. I'm here on holiday." "Where in Ireland do your kin hail from?" It was a really weird phrasing that no one in Ireland or anywhere would ever say. "I'm literally from Cork in Ireland. I have lived there all my life. I'm not putting on an accent. This is how I talk." "Never heard of it. My kin are from Cashel." Notes he pronounced it like it was Klingon or something. Kershel, which is not how it's pronounced. "Oh, cool. I've been to Cashel. It's really nice there. It's only an hour away from Cork, driving. Have you been?" "Not yet, but we will go someday. Now, if you want to stay for dinner, you can't talk like that. It's racist to us Irish people." So, I kid you not, for the next hour I spoke in a fake American accent. No great revenge or anything, and he was actually friendly-ish after that. But I did take great satisfaction out of asking him about Ireland and listening to the absolute nonsense he spoke. He pronounced almost every place wrong, thought pagans were still a thing, and I'm pretty sure he didn't know we were a modern country at all. Oh man, that is so funny, because you just know that he knows in the back of his head that he's not truly Irish. He is putting on a little bit, but he's just trying to fake it till he makes it. I don't blame him. That, or he is just genuinely deluded and he doesn't realise that Ireland is a modern day country and that is how Irish people speak, with quite a thick accent. I tried to pull it off. I'm not sure if I did. You guys will be the judge of that. Let me know in the comments below. I think I can kind of do a decent Irish accent, but I'm not too sure. It probably sounded horrible. I mean, seriously, he calls himself Irish and he hasn't heard of Cork, literally one of the biggest cities in Ireland. That's ridiculous. What? Like, how can he sit there and justify that he's Irish when he doesn't? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now moving on to our next story. Entitled Mum says she will sue me, a 13-year-old, because I almost fell on her kid while I was rock climbing. Currently, my rock climbing gym is open, and I'm trying to go every time I can to Boulder. It's a smaller wall with no ropes. Since it's summer, a bunch of kids come who have never rock climbed before. Today, I was working on a boulder that was directly above a VO, the easiest possible boulder. On to the story. I was climbing the boulder I mentioned earlier, and since it goes to the top of the wall, I was pretty high up when I missed the hold and fell. Directly under me, an entitled mum's young kid was running around the mats, which is a huge no-no know if you ever go to a climbing gym, especially when there are climbers above, and I fell about a foot away from the kid. I of course asked the kid if he was okay, and they were relatively unfazed. Then I see a Karen walk towards me with visible anger on her face. She says, "You almost killed my child." Well, you should have kept an eye on him. He shouldn't be running under climbers. Yeah, but you should look before you fall. Wait, what? I missed the hold. I couldn't stop myself from falling. Yeah, but you've scarred him for life. The kid was currently climbing on the VO he was heading towards when I fell. He seems fine to me. He'll have lasting psychological damage. I'll sue you for this. Your parents will have to pay for his therapy. I'm literally 13. That doesn't change a thing. I'm gonna get some staff to prove I'm right. The entitled mum brings over my coach for the team that I climb with, who I will refer to as Coach. Hi, Coach. OP, what have you done this time? They almost killed my child. She points to the kid happily climbing. He seems fine. How did OP almost kill him? I fell from my project and he was running directly under me, so I fell about a foot away from him. Exactly, you should be liable for any psychological damage. No, he shouldn't. You should have kept a closer eye on your kid. It was highly irresponsible of you to let your kid run around a climbing wall on the map that people fall on. Leave OP alone. The entitled mum walked away, probably to the owner of the gym, who talked to me about it later, and me, the gym owner, and my coach all had a good laugh about it. The worst part about this is, they had their own shoes, so I think that they climb regularly. Some people. Quick edit, I just got news that the entitled mum and her kid are not allowed in the gym ever again. They got a stern warning after my incident, but other climbers said the kid was unsupervised running around yesterday. Not getting in most people's way, but the owner said screw it and ban them. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty sensible decision. If you are letting your kid run around on their own in a climbing gym, that's probably not the safest thing. It's probably not the most mature thing to do as their parent. So yeah, it makes total sense to me. It's really just not worth having them be members of the gym. Just get them out of there for everyone's safety. I also just don't understand this mum's argument at all. Like, it's her job to look after her kid and make sure he doesn't run under other climbers who are way up in the sky. Of course they're going to fall over. It's climbing. They're going to fall off. The point is that you do that sometimes, isn't it? It's hard. So I think, yeah, you just got to be a little bit more careful about your kid, really. Now moving on to our final story, how my dad destroyed a Karen and her brat son at the grocery store. So this story takes place about 6 years ago while I was working at a grocery store in my small town. At this grocery store, we have a side exit / entrance and a restricted back area only meant for employees. We are meant to call police for trespassing if we see someone back there, but I never did, because I thought it was wrong to screw up someone's day for no reason. Right by the back exit was the road to my house, and my dad had driven my mum to work that day and was on his way back home with my mum in the passenger seat. Now my dad isn't a big guy, but he is a scary guy. He may be only 5'10", but he's built like a cage fighter and works out daily. Gun to my head, the only reason why I could think of my father to want to stay in shape is because he works in construction. I really don't know why he works out so hard. I don't know, probably he enjoys it. But anyways, while my father was driving down the road, he saw this 12-year-old round little turd of a boy proceed to slap a little 10-year-old girl across the face at the back of the store. So my dad slams on the brakes and immediately gets out of the car and yells at this kid how it's not right to put your hands on a woman and that the kid should leave now. Now that should be the end of the story, right? Lesson learned, everything's set right in a way. We all know it isn't over, come on. The kid clearly wasn't used to getting yelled at or told he wasn't allowed to do something, because this part I was there for and heard. Me and my boss were outside taking care of trash and whatnot when we hear a blubbering prepubescent screech of, "F you, stay the F away from me, you female dog, I freaking hate you." So my boss comes over to the screeching and sees the brat marching through the side exit. So my boss approached him and said, "Hey, you can't be screaming here, that isn't allowed." As the fat sack of poop marched past us and pointed back, screeching again, "It's cause he's a freaking butthole." That's when we see a man walking down the alley and my boss leans over to me asking, "Isn't that your dad?" All I could muster in response was, "God, I hope not." Then seconds after, my dad called out, "Hey buddy," to me. So my dad brought us up to speed and we all figured that was the end. Nope. Me and my boss go back into the store and we hear what sounds like whale mating sounds. We see at the service center laying down on his back on the floor and throwing a temper tantrum, the brat. My boss immediately brings people up to speed on what happened and all sympathy dries up for him immediately after. My boss then informs the kid that he's not allowed in the back of the store anymore, and that if his parents don't come and get him now, the police will be called. So the turd pulls out his cell phone and calls his mum, and I head back to doing my job. I, like an idiot, thought again it was over. The entitled Karen of a mother shows up and is a picture-perfect Karen, haircut and attitude honed to perfection. So she immediately gets out of the car and walks over to her filthy little crotch spawn and says, "Oh sweetheart, who made you cry?" My dad, apparently too entertained to leave or something, pipes up before the kid. "Yeah, I did that." He brings the entitled mother up to speed on what happened and how her son hit a little girl. She scoffs and goes, "That gives you no right to try and parent my child, even if he was misbehaving. That's a job for the parents, not for you." My dad, already fully grasping the type of person he was dealing with, responded with, "Yeah, well, you weren't around, and I wasn't about to let a little kid hit another for no reason." She got offended by this, screaming in response, "I'm sorry, I was busy being a good mum at home and making my kid dinner, you butthole. You have no right to parent my kid." My dad, acting like he just understood, goes, "Oh, I get it. He's just copying what he sees at home. Clearly your husband must smack the snot out of you if you think it was okay for him to be beating up on little girls." Now Karen did not like that response and said, "I'm gonna go get my husband. He's 6'4" and is gonna kick your butt." My dad actually laughed at this and said, "Go ahead and freaking bring him, you female dog. I will snap him off at the kneecaps and beat him with his legs." It was about then that Karen realized she had lost, loaded her spawn and his bike into her minivan and drove off. She ended up coming back with her husband later, and my dad actively ate candy and laughed in his face about the skid mark his jeans created. The man never touched my dad, possibly due to the police station that the grocery store's parking lot actively touched. The Karen, her husband and her kid were all banned from the store, and my manager bought my dad a box of candy. Fair play to your dad for just not really caring about this entitled mum, the kid, or her 6'4" husband who didn't do anything, obviously, because that's always what happens. There's always loads of chat and then someone comes along and doesn't do anything. That's what normally happens. And yeah, your dad, I think he backs himself quite heavily. You said he's a big old lad, he goes to the gym, probably a very, very tough guy. I wouldn't like to mess with him, that's for sure. In all seriousness though, your dad of course did the complete right thing. It doesn't matter if there's not a parent there. You're just not allowed to hit another girl. You're not allowed to hit anyone really. Like, you shouldn't really be hitting anyone, but especially a boy hitting a girl. That is just setting a really bad precedent if that boy thinks that's okay. And by your dad doing that, he is sending a message to the little girl that it's not okay to be hit, and that's going to stay with her for the rest of her life. Awesome stuff. Anyway guys, that is going to do it for this video, but before you click off, if you are still watching, I want to say a massive thank you first of all. It means you are one of my true core fans for watching this far. Now if you do want some extra content from me and you want to hear me swear for the first time, no female dogs, then check out my Patreon. It's on screen right now. I've created Redditor Uncensored, as I said in the intro. If you want to go and check that out, I'm releasing videos quite often over there, and yeah, it's some of my best stuff. I'm really excited to show it to you guys. So yeah, go and check it out and I will be forever grateful. I love you.